In Kim's life, that Monday morning began like an action movie. She was already rushing about her little room in age, looking for one of her black shoes, before the sun had even fully risen. Tala, her cousin, was still murmuring from the bed, half sleeping. "If you disperse the room finish, Kim, your shoe won't sprout legs and emerge." Paula mumbled as Kim shoved stuff out of her little Ghana must-go bag. "I started working as an intern at Glint Holdings today." "And whole Glint Holdings. Are you aware of what it implies?" "I am unable to stay late." Tala yawned. "Eh? You believe you will be given the CEO chair even if you arrive early." At last, Kemi discovered the shoe concealed under the bed, next to a half-dead cockroach and a sachet of clear water. "Praise the Lord! I found it," she said as she lifted it up like she had discovered gold. She then immediately put it on, dusted it with tissue paper, and stood in front of the mirror. Her reflection seemed to be someone who was still attempting to smile after experiencing financial difficulties. She donned a used jacket that she paid 1,500 naira for at Oshodi, pulled her short hair back into a ponytail, and applied powder that didn't match her skin tone. She laughed till she coughed when Ta gave her a glance. Ta clapped slowly. "Hey, Kim, you look like a motivational speaker who borrowed her confidence." Kemi ignored her, picked up one bag, and said, "Laugh all you want. One day you'll see me on TV give an interview. How I started from nothing to become something. Just be careful not to pass out while traveling since you haven't eaten." Kim picked up a piece of bread that was left over and began to nibble it. She crammed herself onto a wet bus that smelled like onions and perspiration as she dashed outside. She was reminded that her seat was broken by every bump on the road. She continued to smile, however. When she arrived to the company's huge glass structure on Victoria Island, her heart began to beat like a talking drum. After all, she thought, today is the beginning of greatness. It was the most beautiful workplace she had ever seen. Air conditioning, guards in suits, and automated doors all contributed to the comfort of mind. She saw other people at the reception who were already well-dressed, using iPhones and acting as if they were unaware of her. She sat silently and signed her name. Kami feigned not to hear, but her ears were burning as a tall girl with sharp nails examined her from head to toe and muttered to another, "Some people just came from the village to embarrass us." Before long, a guy wearing a tight shirt entered. His stomach preceded his body. "Good morning, interns. My name is Mr. Felix, your team lead. I hope you are ready to walk." Everyone chanted, "Yes, sir." Like a headmaster, he looked around the group before gesturing to Kimi. "What's your name?" With trepidation, she got to her feet. "Kimi Edo is my name." "Welcome, E-Key." Before she can reply, "Yes, sir, you assist me in getting a cup of coffee from the cafeteria." Sandra, another intern whose eyelashes were longer than sensible, let out a loud chuckle. "The new girl should do it flawlessly, sir. She seems to have worked as a maid before." Everyone chuckled. With an uneasy grin, Kemi left to get coffee and came back in silence. Felix scowled as she set the cup down on the table. "Why isn't there any sugar? Would you want to murder me?" "I apologize, sir," Kim added rapidly. "I'll acquire it." "Never mind." Sandra and her new companions were sneaking behind Mr. Felix as he retreated and began to drink noisily. The remainder of the day was not much better. After Kimi accidentally spilled water on a document at lunch, they instructed her to clear the table and assigned her photocopying tasks and errands. Everyone laughed once more as Felix said, "What nonsense. If you can't handle simple tasks, maybe you should just go and sell granites." During lunch, Kimi sat by herself in the cafeteria, eating jol of rice that tasted like disappointment. She felt tears well up in her eyes, but she forced them back and said, "Don't cry. Don't give them that satisfaction." Kimi giggled as Unazi, the workplace gossip, approached her table and said, "Cami, don't mind them, Jer. These office people only respect power. If you were the CEO's daughter, they would even beg to carry your bag for you." Unazi chuckled and used her spoon to emphasize, saying, "Hey, I wish even the CEO's driver is richer than me. Imagine for a moment that you are his daughter. You'll notice how everyone begins to welcome you. Ma, good morning. Ma, good morning." They both chuckled. However, the joke stuck in Kim's mind like a seed sown in rich soil after Unazi departed. The words, "if you were the CEO's daughter," kept coming back to her as she sat on the bus on her way home that night. Wedged between two traders debating dollar rates, she glanced out the window and saw her reflection on the glass. A chipwig, weary eyes, and a dreaming heart. What if I was? Just what if? She wondered to herself as the bus struck a pothole and everyone yelled, "Jesus!" But Kimmy was deep in contemplation. She grinned to herself for the first time, as if she were preparing a little uprising. When she arrived home, Ta had devoured Gary while watching a television Nola. "How did your first day go?" Tala asked without raising her gaze. Kimmy sighed and abruptly dumped her luggage on the chair. "You won't believe how those folks treated me, Tala, if I tell you. But don't worry, I'll be treated like bottled water tomorrow." Tala scowled. In other words, Tam gave her cousin a cheeky glance. "This means that everyone in Glint's Holdings will think I am the CEO's daughter as of tomorrow." In disbelief, Todd dropped her cup. "Are you angry?" Kami gladly nodded. "Perhaps, but it's time to show respect to the insane as well." Tala was laughing so hard that she started crying. "Oh, Kim, you'll get into problems with this one day." Kim grinned. "At least people will remember my name, regardless of where it lands me." Kim awoke before the rooster in her neighbor's property the next morning. She took over an hour to decide what to dress. She ultimately chose her nicest ensemble: a cream top she purchased from Yaba Market and a skirt she pressed so flat that even the iron became weary. Despite the fact that her whole wardrobe could fit into a little bucket, Toss sat on the bed and shook her head as she got ready. "Are you certain that you believe this to be true, Kimmy? Do you want to act like the daughter of the CEO of all of Glenn's assets, not just a pure water company?" "No. That is the point. Nobody will suspect a broke girl like me. It's too ridiculous to be a lie." Ta chuckled. "If they arrest you, I will just tell police I don't know you." "Oh," Kami said, tightening her belt. By the time she arrived at the workplace that morning, Kim had changed her gait. She grinned, picked up her little bag, and dramatically stated, "Tell them you knew me before greatness." Even though her heels were wobbling, her head was up, her back was straight, and her steps sounded like power heels. The receptionist, who had not greeted her the day before, smiled courteously as she entered the lobby and said, "Good morning, Miss Kimmy." Kimmy cleared her throat and spoke carefully, as if she was considering something more important than the topic at hand. The receptionist blinked and said, "Good morning, Jane. No need to sign me in today." Kimmy smiled slightly and said, "Sorry, why?" "Because I'm family." "Family?" "Yes," Kimmy said. She looked around, lowering her voice. Jane's eyes nearly popped out when she said, "Don't tell anyone, but I'm the CEO's daughter." "Oh my God, Chief Cole's daughter. Can we place a finger on her lips?" "Shh, please. I don't like attention. I just want to blend in like normal stuff." But by 10 a.m., compared to business Wi-Fi, the rumor had spread more quickly. People who had previously ignored her now wanted to exchange gossip or pen staplers with her. Sandra, who had made fun of her the day before, came over to her table grinning. "I had no idea that you were the boss's daughter, Kem baby. We would have thrown you a red carpet if you had informed us now." Kem gave a charming grin. "No issue, Sandra. I am aware that individuals treat others according to their knowledge." "You are aware now." With an embarrassed chuckle, Sandra replied, "Let me get you coffee." "You like cappuccino or mocha?" Tammy was on the verge of saying in cafe 3-in-1, but then she remembered her new status. I prefer black coffee, no sugar." Mr. Felix also showed there, looking suddenly modest. "You didn't tell me you were the chief's daughter, Miss Kimmy. It makes sense why you resemble each other." Kenry made a show of blushing. "Really? Sometimes people say that." As soon as Felix finished adjusting his tire and continued, "And don't hesitate to tell me we are here to support you." Kami covered her mouth with her palm and started laughing silently. That's how power feels then. By midday, she was eating rice and chicken rather than beans and plantains while sitting with the elderly. Everybody wanted to sit close to her. Sandra even yelled, "I see humility runs in your family, Kimmy. You're not proud at all." "I see." Like a queen, Kim waved her head. "We were brought up in this manner." From across the table, Unazi, the queen of gossip, soars. "Baby, your acting deserves an Oscar award," she murmured later. "You started it," Kim muttered back. "I recently completed the task." Better don't snitch. From that day, everything changed for Kim. H sent her to a new desk closer to the window. The cleaner now greeted her with 2 hands. Even the security guard outside started saluting her when she entered the elevator. People waited for her to step out first. The same people who used to call her Intent Girl now called her Misky. But the problem with lies is that they don't stay small. They grow wings and start flying on their own. One Thursday during a meeting, the HR manager, Mrs. Opera, said proudly, "We are so delighted to have Chief Cole's daughter among this year's Incent. Miss Kim, I have no doubt that your father would appreciate your humility." Kimmy's phony grin froze. "Yes, Mother, he will." Mrs. Opera grinned. "Actually, we want to submit him a report this week that includes images of every incense. I'll personally include a letter about you." Chemmy's blood chilled. "Well, Mother, it really isn't necessary. My dad dislikes notoriety, you know." Mrs. Opera chuckled. "Oh, hurry up. It's only communication inside the company. He will be proud, I'm sure." Cammy faked a cough-like chuckle. "Yes, I'm really proud." She hurried to the bathroom, shut the door, and looked at herself in the mirror as soon as the conference was over. "You're dead, Kim. Officially, you've signed your own letter of termination." In a panic, she contacted Tala that afternoon. "They want to transmit images to the CEO." Kala let out a scream over the phone. "Jesus, what are you going to do now? Perhaps pretend to be ill and step down." Kim began to pace. "I'm not going to give up. I am unable to give up. They will believe it to be beneficial. The CEO may not have even noticed the letter. I take that he's in London for medical care?" "Are you certain?" Ta inquired. "I just heard that," Kim answered, with assurance. Tala sighed, even though she was no longer certain of anything. "You are using your fate as a game of Ludo. This will backfire, Kemi." Kemi rolled her eyes. "Call a backfire. Backfire on me. There won't be any events. I'll simply maintain my composure and behave normally. Sadly, life was like poor Wi-Fi. It's not to act inappropriately, out of the blue." The next week, as Key was contentedly settling into her new life as the CEO's daughter, a shocking statement rocked the company. "Attention everyone, the CEO is returning from London earlier than planned. He will be here tomorrow morning," the receptionist said as she hurried down the hallway, causing Cammy to stop in his tracks. Her jaw dropped open. Sandra let out an excited yell. Mr. Felix started tidying his desk. In anticipation of the boss's arrival, everyone was scurrying about. However, Kimmy's legs weakened, and she simply stood there like a statue, clutching her file upside down and muttering, "Tomorrow, Jesus." In the back of her mind, she could already hear the drumbeat of disaster. She had trouble sleeping that night. Hugging her pillow as if it might make her troubles go away, she threw herself into the bed. Ta then replied, "If you like, keep pretending. When the real owner of the lie lands, I will just tell police I warned you." Kenny buried her face under her pillow and groaned. "Lord, if you are listening, can you just please postpone his flight by 1 week? But morning always come, no matter how long the night begs." And as dawn broke, Key realized she only had 2 options: run away or face her line like a soldier on her first and last battle before stepping out that day. She looked at the mirror one more time, adjusted her cheap blazer, and whispered, "If I'm going down, I will go down looking like the daughter of the CEO." Then she picked her bag, squared her shoulders, and marched out of the room straight towards the chaos she had created with her own mouth. That morning, Glint's Holdings looked like heaven had an appointment there. The cleaners were polishing the floors till they reflected like mirrors. The security guards stood like statues by the gates, and their shoes shone brighter than honesty itself. Every staff member was suddenly polite. Even Sandra, who normally wore short skirts and loud makeup, appeared in a long black gown and greeted everyone with "Good morning, Ma," as if she had been baptized overnight. But for Kimmy, that morning was not a new day. It was Judgment Day in disguise. She could barely eat or breathe properly. Her stomach was twisting like generator coil. She had changed her hairstyle overnight, hoping maybe the CEO wouldn't recognize her from the pictures HR had sent. As she entered the bus to work, she kept whispering prayers. "Lord, confuse the man's memory. Let him just smile and forget I exist." At the office gate, she saw a banner. "Welcome back, Chief Ola Nicole. We miss you." Her niece almost gave way. "Ha! I am finished," she muttered. Inside, the atmosphere was electric. Everyone was rehearsing greetings like actors before an audition. Mr. Felix stood in front of a mirror adjusting his tie for the 10th time. Remember, when he enters, nobody talks unless spoken to. And for God's sake, please don't breathe too loud. Sandra whispered to Key, smiling nervously. Babe, your daddy is coming. Oh, I am shaking. I don't even know what to say when I see him. Can we force a dry laughter? Just breathe. He doesn't like noise. Ah, you even know his habit. See connection. Oh, Sandra said admiringly. However, what she didn't know was that Kami wanted to disappear into the wall. Every tick of the clock felt like thunder to her. At exactly 900 a.m., the sound of a black proud Jeep pulling up at the entrance made everyone straighten up immediately. The receptionist shouted, "He's here!" And the entire office lined up like primary school poo-poos waiting for inspection. Then he walked in, Chief Olami Cole himself. He was tall, calm, and carried the authority of a man used to being obeyed. His gray suit looked like it was stitched by angels. His silver hair was neatly trimmed, and his eyes were sharp enough to scan through lies. Everyone bowed slightly as he passed. "Welcome, sir. You are missed, sir. You are looking younger, sir." Voices chorused like praise singers. Chief Cole smiled and nodded, but then his eyes paused. He was looking straight at Kem. For a moment, time froze. Kem's legs nearly gave up, but she forced a weak smile that could barely stand on its own. "Good morning, sir," she said softly, but her voice was trembling. He tilted his head and stared at her curiously. "You look familiar. Have we previously met?" The office went silent. Not even a pen dared to fall. Everyone's eyes turned to her. Chemist. "Ah, maybe. Maybe on TV, sir." The HR manager, who had been waiting for this moment, jumped in proudly. "Sir, this is your daughter, Miss Kia Dio, the one interning with us. We are honored to have her." You could have heard a pin drop. At that point, the CEO's smile vanished like Nipa lights during rain. "My what?" he asked slowly. "Your daughter, Sir HR repeated with confidence. "She has been such a wonderful young lady. Very humble, just like you, sir." Everyone in the room was nodding in agreement. Chief Cole looked at Kem again. His voice was calm but heavy. "Young lady, whose daughter are you?" Kemi's throat went dry. Her tongue felt like cotton. "Sir, I, Sandra, who wanted to impress," interrupted cheerfully. "Sir, it's true. She didn't even want us to treat her special. She's so down to earth. We love her humility." "Silence," Chief Cole ordered, and the room froze. Even Sandra stepped back immediately as if her battery died. He looked at Kimmy once more and said, "Come with me." Every eye followed them as he turned and walked towards his office. Kem followed behind like a condemned prisoner. Inside the CEO's office, the air smelled of expensive wood polish and authority. The furniture gleamed. Our words lined the shelves. Kem stood at the door, unable to move. "Sit," he said. Kem sat like a schoolgirl, caught stealing meat from the pot. "Now, would you like to explain what exactly is going on before I call security?" Kimmy started crying right away. "Sir, please accept my apologies. It wasn't my intention." "I swear I didn't." Chief Cole frowned. "Didn't mean what?" I just told a small lie," Kem said between tears. "They were bullying me, sir. Everyone looked down on me because I am poor. They mocked my shoes, my clothes, my everything. I didn't even plan it. Oh, one day somebody joked that if I was the CEO's daughter, nobody would dare insult me. And then I said it without thinking. I am so sorry, sir." The man sat quietly watching her cry. Then in a low voice he said, "So you pretended to be my daughter to feel respected?" "Yes, sir," Kimmy said with an embarrassed nod. "I had no intention of stirring up controversy." He got up, went to the window, and gazed out for a while before saying, "Respect, purchased with lies, is less expensive than disrespect. I just wanted respect." He turned around and replied, "You would not be sacked." Tammy continued to weep. "Sir, please don't sack me. I will do anything. I just need this job. My cousin and I are barely surviving. I can't go back home empty-handed. But going forward, you put in twice as much effort as everyone else in 10, no favors or quick cuts. You want special treatment. Now, you earn it." Kem looked up in shock. "Sir, you are not angry." He smiled. "I am disappointed. Not angry, but I believe people can learn from their mistakes. Just don't let this kind of foolishness define you." Kem nodded quickly and wiped off her tears. "Thank you, sir. I promise I will make you proud. I mean, not like your daughter proud, but proud. He laughed slightly, shaking his head. Go back to work and tell HR to stop calling you my daughter before I really develop hypertension. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, Kimmy said as she fled. Everyone looked at her like she had just emerged from a lion's cave as she exited the workplace. Sandra hurried over to her. Kimmy faked a grin and said, "What did he say? Did he hug you? Did he tell you to go home and rest?" Sandra applauded. "He said I should focus on work." Chem sighed heavily and said, "Ah, so humble. That is how rich people behave. If only they were aware." She regretfully shook her head as she sat on the bus that night, returning home. You came into Wahala with a full chest, Kimmy. Before this guy changes his mind, you had better become the greatest employee this organization has ever had. She had no idea that this was only the start, because another rumor was beginning to circulate while she believed her deception had been buried. When Kim arrived to Glint's properties the next morning, everything had drastically altered. Behind their laptops, the same individuals who used to refer to her as Miss Kimmy were now muttering. When she passed, several of them feigned a cough. Others said caustic things like, "I be Go's CEO's daughter." Sandra, who used to give her coffee, suddenly gave her a sidelong glance while grinning like a woman poised to say something nasty. "That means your dad didn't give you a hug yesterday, Kimmy. That's odd, huh? He could be the rough love kind, I see." Yes, Kim gave a feeble grin. Perhaps. Or maybe Sandra carried on mockingly. "Since you are not his daughter, he did not recognize you." Everyone in the vicinity started laughing. Even Mr. Felix laughed and appeared to be occupied with his typing. Kim took a deep breath. "I have nothing to explain to you, Sandra. Let's simply go to work." Sandra dramatically folded her arms. "Take her on a walk." "Do you mean the one you obtained via deception?" "You tricked us all, my darling. How many people sucked up to you because they thought you were connected?" Kami resisted to weep, even though she longed to disappear. Despite her trembling voice, she stood erect. "You can believe whatever you want. I'm not here to appease you just yet." But her self-assurance was insufficient to rescue her. It seemed like a battle zone in the workplace now. Someone grumbled when she dropped a pen. No hold, even for the CEO's daughter. When she coughed, someone else remarked, "Fake hair rest, don't see coal." By midday, she was eating by herself once again, exactly like the first day. However, the shame tasted worse than the kafiria rice seal this time. Chief Oli's words replayed themselves in her mind. Lies combined with respect are less expensive than disrespect. She began working harder than everyone else after wiping away her tears and opening her laptop. However, it wasn't simple. She was given the most difficult tasks by Mr. Felix, which included creating endless data sheets, writing dull reports, and staying up late to correct mistakes committed by others. Kimmy did not, however, voice any complaints. She sometimes moved silently until the janitor began sweeping the area surrounding her. Ta saw the black bags beneath her eyes at home. "Oh, I see. Your internship has become a source of pain, Kimmy." "No. Did they make you a housekeeper?" "Be what?" Kami grinned. "No, I'm simply paying for my mouth." "Well," Ta sighed. "I warned you that one day your mouth will pull you into a dramatic situation. However, you have my admiration." "You didn't run, Shah." Kimmy gave a shrug. "Nothing would have been resolved by running. This time, I'll earn my respect." The workplace was in disarray one afternoon. The presentation for a significant customer had gone awry. The customer was threatening to drop out, and the team in charge had lost the data file. Mr. Felix was pacing up and down and perspiring profusely. The presentation folder was erased. By whom? "Do any of you know the value of this deal?" Nobody responded. Everyone was in a frenzy. When Kimmy heard him yelling, she approached her desk where she was working silently. "I believe the file may still be in the archive folder, sir. Backups are automatically saved by the system." Felix lost his temper. "Young woman, don't instruct me how to do my work." Kim, however, disregarded his tone and proceeded directly to the server computer. He glanced to the screen and froze when she found the missing file in a matter of minutes, stored it on the shared drive, and said, "Sir, please check again. The file should be there now." The file had returned. Everything was undamaged. Everyone let out a gasp. Felix gazed at her as if she had just worked a miracle. "How? How did you grin?" "It's only common sense, sir. Last month I completed the IT refresher course," Sandra whispered. "Put up a show." However, the recently arrived department head applauded her. "Well done, Miss Kimmy. We just avoided losing 80 million naira thanks to you." Something changed that day. Behind her, the laughter stopped. Instead, they began pleading with her for assistance. Could you verify this formula, Chemi? Could you kindly assist me with organizing this data? Felix even started saying please when she was assigned a duty. She first believed it to be sympathy, but she quickly understood it to be true respect, gained in the proper manner this time. She was leaving the workplace late one evening. She saw the CEO conversing on the phone while standing by his office window. When he saw her, he motioned for her to enter. When she arrived, he inquired, "Kim, you're still here?" "Yes, sir. I just finished the data compilation." He smiled slightly. "I have been hearing good things about you." "You saved the presentation, right?" Kemi blushed and looked down. "It was teamwork, sir. Don't hide your light." He said, "I watched the camera footage from the day you made that recovery. You didn't wait for anyone's approval. You just acted. That is leadership." Kay's eyes widened. "You saw that, sir?" He nodded. "I see more than people think. You made a foolish choice lying about who you are, but you've made wiser choices since then. You remind me of myself when I was your age." Key smiled nervously. "You lied too," he chuckled. "No, but I was broke, and I wanted to be seen. Well, I learned that the fastest way up is still the slowest. Hard work." They both laughed. As she left the office that night, Sandra watched her from a distance, biting her lip in annoyance. She whispered to Goazi, "See her forming humble queen. Let's see how long it lasts." However, the truth was, no rumor could touch what Kimmy was building now because this time she wasn't pretending. A week later, HR released the quarterly intent performance report. Out of 20 intents, Kimmy was ranked number 1. When the results came out, the office was vibrating again, but this time for the right reasons. Sandra pretended to be happy, but jealousy was boldly written all over her face. Wow. Number 1. It must be nice having inspiration from the top. She sat sarcastically. Cammy smiled. "No inspiration, Sandra. It was only perspiration." The office erupted in laughter. Even Mr. Felix laughed. Sandra hissed and walked away. By evening, an email came from the CEO's office calling for a general meeting the next morning. Nobody knew what it was about, but rumors flew like birds. Was it bonus payments, downsizing, or promotion? Keith. She was just happy to have survived her humiliation and regained her dignity. The next morning, Glint Holdings was boiling like a market before Christmas. Staff in every department were rushing to look their best. Perfumes were competing with perfumes. Ties were straightened, and wigs were being adjusted. The mysterious email from the CEO's office had said, "General meeting 10 a.m. sharp. Attendance is compulsory." Nobody knew what it was about, and that alone was enough to make even the cleaners wear new uniforms. Kim reached the office early, still half asleep, but curious. Surprisingly, her heart wasn't racing like before. She had finally stopped leaving in fear. These days, she came to work with real confidence, not the fake one she used to wear like a borrowed shoe. Sandra walked in with her usual exaggerated walk, dragging her chair closer to Chimmy's desk. "So, Madam Genius," she said, twirling her pen, "do you think this meeting is about you? Maybe they want to sack you properly this time." Tammy smiled, unbothered. "If that's the case, I'll collect my sack letter with grace." Sandra frowned. "You and this your fake peace of mind. You think life is NLI?" Cammy laughed. "Maybe, but at least I am not playing the villain anymore." Before Sandra could reply, "Mr. I called this meeting because it is time to make a few important announcements. We've had challenges, but we've also seen commitment, creativity, and courage among our staff, especially our interns." The CEO continued, "When I returned from my trip, I heard something unusual that one of our intents was claiming to." Felix ran in sweating as if he had been chased by good news. She immediately screamed, and everyone ran off. In a matter of minutes, the conference hall was packed with staff, including the janitors. The room became quiet instantly. A few people glanced at Kimmy. Sandra almost choked on her own spit as she tried to chuckle. Chief Oli grinned. "Yes, I am aware that a lot of you have heard the tale. Most likely, you even seasoned it yourself." A few nervous laughters have floated in the air, he continued. "I was angry at first, but then I decided to watch. Instead of firing her, I gave her a chance to show her true worth, and I am glad I did." He paused, looked directly at Kim, and said clearly, Miss Ko, please stand. Kemi's heart jumped. She stood up slowly. Every eye turned towards her, and she wished the ground would open and swallow her. Chief Olyi opened the folder in his hand and smiled. Ladies and gentlemen, this young woman lied to survive, but she worked to redeem herself. She made mistakes, but she refused to stay down. She showed integrity where others would have run. When our major client file disappeared, she found it. When others laughed at her, she kept learning. She has proved that value speaks louder than rumor. The hall was quiet. Nobody breathed. The CEO finally said, "So I have decided to offer Miss Ki Ado a position is permanent." The room was full with gaps. Like a damaged light bulb, Mr. Felix blinked. Even a bug would have missed Sandra's gaping mouth. The CEO grinned and said, "Exactly. Because sometimes life gives us a stage by mistake, but it is what we perform on that stage that matters." He turned to Kem when someone in the back said, "Wait, so she's not his daughter, but she's still getting the job. You remain to earn respect, but you lied to get it. You have promise,